Dana White said afterwards he thought it was a draw.
Yeah, I saw it.
White.
Oh, shit.
And got him to
That was my chance.
I think that John Jones has some dirt on Dana White.
Caught him last second. I was going demented this
If you
morning.
watched that. Welcome back. Episode 5 of the Crack House podcast. We have some new additions to the set. We've got some lovely gloves.
Signed gloves.
Signed gloves, yes. Signed by Tabitha Ritchie. And who were they donated by again? A little unknown fighter. What was his name again?
Tony Ferguson. Yeah.
Name drop.
Me by Tony was signed by Tabitha.
Yes, boy. Sick. And we also have Crunch Candy on display. The sponsor Crunch Candy.
Yeah.
Do we have to put that now in Spotify, like paid advertisement?
Yeah. Really.
This week we're going to be talking about UFC 303 that just happened at the weekend, and also one Friday Night Fight 68. So I think we'll start with the UFC card. Did you get to watch all the fights, or did you select?
I watched Garry.
Yes.
Mainly, and Pereira as well. They were the kind of two I was most interested in, really.
I think they're the ones that most people were excited about.
Yeah, I was so surprised that Garry was first fight at the main card. That confused me altogether.
Why? Because he was meant to be in the undercard.
I thought he should have been higher. By that was like the real co-main.
Yeah, I think originally they were on the prelims.
That's a joke.
And they got moved up. Yeah, it was a big fight. It was definitely a big fight, but I think it went the way most people expected it to go, because they kind of Dana White said afterwards he thought it was a draw. Yeah,
I saw that. I watched his post fight. I didn't watch all of it, but I saw a bit of it. I saw him say that.
It was definitely though, because Ian Garry prides himself on being the new wave of striking in the UFC, and I don't think he had any success in the feet, really.
He caught him a few peaches, by
a lot, man. Yeah, he lit him up.
Didn't hurt him though for whatever reason. I don't know, like when he catches boys, not all. I feel like a lot of the time he doesn't have everything behind it because he's just so flying in and out. Yeah.
There's also the fact he's 37 by, so he's like definitely came into the UFC just a bit past his prime.
Yeah.
And I think his style is very like, he focuses on speed and being able to, move in and out quick, and that's one of the first things that goes.
I always wanted him in the UFC sooner.
Yeah.
Years. He was obviously getting big money off Bellator, and
he wasn't being offered big money by UFC.
He would have to come in and work it up, and he just piped off, fuck that. No.
Well, if you're making money fighting easier, well, not easier, well, I suppose they are easier, but that's what his coach, when I would have asked him, Alexi, I always used to, not always, but I asked him once or twice, why don't you have more UFC fighters, because they would have all, like London shoot fighters, would have focused on Bellator a lot more, and he said that he could have a kid who's 3-0 getting 15-20 grand a fight, rather than going to the UFC and maybe getting 5 or 10, a few wins,
smashed then maybe,
or fighting way harder opponents. And then MVP was getting paid peas by Bellator.
He was their biggest star.
Yeah, he was the MVP. Literally,
he was getting big bucks, right?
Yeah, but it was.
I was disappointed in the fight though. It's just like, in my mind, I'm like MVP, crazy striker, Garry, good striker, and then it just turned into a fucking hugging match.
Yeah, but that's what Garry had to do to win.
That's it as well. It's like you're in a catch-22 between, like, it is good, it is smart, he won the fight, but then on the entertainment fan side, you're like, I would love just a war, But
isn't Garry turning into one of those fighters a bit now, because his last fight against Jeff Neal as well, it was alright, like, but he wasn't, and he's not putting. When was his last knockout? He knocked out the Daniel Rodriguez. Was that his last stoppage?
Yeah, as he's climbing the ranks and the caliber's getting better, you can tell he's more conscious of just keeping the undefeated streak. Yeah. And I don't like that won't pay off in the long run.
Well, look who's ahead of him now, right? So he's ranked 7. You have Jack Della, you have Usman, you have Bilal, you have Leon Edwards. Yeah. Who else is there?
And Bilal and Leon are fighting, sure.
Oh yeah, Shavkat. All those boys are going to be hard fights for him.
Yeah. Who does he fight next? Like, who does he fight next? He can't fight, but
Kobe.
He said they won't fight. He said to Dana that he wants to weigh in as a backup for Leon Bilal.
Yeah, and Dana said he'll see.
Dana was like, he was kind of like,
Why do you think he won't fight Kobe though?
It just won't happen, because I don't think Kobe would do it, because he's coming out with all these stipulations. But really, what that means is he knows Ian's not going to do him. So that's his way of being like, I'll fight you, no bother. If your old dad does this, but he's hardly going to get his old dad to do the shit.
Well, so if the UFC call him and say, look, this is the fight we have for you, according to Dana White, he's a guy who takes any fight. So if UFC get onto him, like,
I'd love to see that.
It would be fucking great.
Or Sean Strickland action.
Oh, Sean Strickland and Garry, yeah.
But I don't think he'll fight Colby. I just don't know. I'd like to see that fight. Yeah, that'd be my favourite matchup for him next. But I don't know. Like, give him it.
I think the rest of the card is pretty busy aside from Usman, and I can't see. I don't know what is next for Usman, because he's not going to really.
Yeah, he's really at that awkward part of his career where he's not going to go on a 4-5 fight run again to go to the title. He either wants another title shot or he needs something big to bring him out.
Well, he's only had the 2 losses to Edwards at welterweight. He hasn't actually fought since.
Yeah.
So we'd have to see him. Sure. That was middleweight, sure. But he'll have to fight someone like, so Jack Della has called out Shavkat, which would be a tough fight for Jack, but I think fair play to him for calling it out.
Yeah.
So if we were to put Usman back in against the winner of Leon and Belal, just because he's been a champion for so long, and give him, would people want to see him again against Edwards?
I don't think the UFC do it.
But then who'd put him
Trilogy,
in
but he beat him twice, and the second time was convincing. We were both there.
Yeah.
Like, it was quite convincing. Like,
he's getting older, isn't he? Like,
he's getting older. He's coming out. He lost again to Hamzat. Like, I just feel like, and he's one of my favourite fighters. I love Usman.
Yeah, he's.
But I think they should just try and get him a massive fight for nothing. Do you know, like when fellas are getting a bit older and you can tell they're not really challenging anymore, just get him a big payday and leave him bounce. You know, if he fought like fucking, Nate Diaz, or like, I'm not saying that, but one of those type of fights.
Yeah, I think he smashed Diaz though.
Yeah,
smashed him. Here's a good fight. MVP. Throw MVP in there with him.
That'd be a weird one.
It would be, wouldn't it? But what you do with MVP as well, right? Like, is he gonna? Do you know, it'd be a good fight for MVP. Wonder why. That'd be a sick fight.
But I thought there was talks of that before, but then they didn't make it, and I'd like to see that one as well. Yeah, but I love Wonder Boy. I saw him as well in Cork before, at the MMA Fest Yoke in Silver Springs. Nice.
And MVP was there as well.
MVP was there, Wonder Boy was there, Frank Mir was there.
You should have got him fucking going at each other, yeah.
But Wonder Boy was a nicest fella. He was one of the boys who came out and did like a talk.
Yeah.
So sound, but you could just tell he was the soundest fella.
I think he's genuinely nice as well. He's not fucking.
He's genuine. You could tell even off the stage. You're like, he's the nicest fella ever.
I met him in Liverpool as well, and he was fighting Darren Till, and we were in me and Mike Russell, who was the BJJ coach from the clinic, we were in the gym just doing a little workout, and he was cutting weight. And like that, we just kind of like, fuck, it's Wonder Boy. Yeah. Have to be a bit of a fan here and ask him for a photo. The nicest guy, boy. Got a photo. He was like, guys, enjoy your session. So good to see you guys smashing it. Keep it up. We were like, fucking hell, boy. The guy's like in a sweatsuit, cutting weight, and he's still smiling from ear to ear, just being so nice.
He's a beast.
But yeah, I think the welterweight division is interesting at the moment. At the top, there's a lot of good guys. Be good to see what happens with Belal and Leon now, I think.
I'd hate it, but everyone is praying Belal doesn't win that.
Yeah.
I think he'd be such a boring.
He gets a lot of fucking guff.
He gets a lot of stick, but he is a bit boring. Really, you know what I mean? He is, like, realistically.
Yeah.
Call a spade a spade. Even Leon can be a bit boring as well. And I love Leon. Like, I think he's a class fighter and everything. Like, but in terms of showmanship.
Yeah, I think since GSP there hasn't been anyone in the welterweight division that has kind of captured the fans. Like Usman,
Colby, but was that a good capture?
No. But he hasn't had the fucking performances then to back it up. Like Usman was, like, towards the end, because he was having, he was smashing people, like, but I don't think he captured people's imagination like George St. Pierre. There's been no superstar in the welterweight division since. I think a really good fight that was on the card as well, that was in the prelims, was Payton Talbott. Did you see that young fella?
No, I must watch the finish for that.
Man, he is shit hot. I watched him against Cameron Simon.
I'll get it up there
in his previous fight. Yeah, get up that finish. But his previous fight against Cameron Simon, who's a teammate of Dricus du Plessis, really hot prospect. I think they were both undefeated going into it, but Payton Talbott put on a clinic, man. Just unbelievable setups for his striking, and knocked him out as well. So this is the finish.
We're reacting to Payton Talbott's finish.
I think he
caught him a peach down the middle.
And I think it could have been
bouncing his head.
I think that was very like the Pereira finish by the referee.
He wanted a walk off, and you could kind of when he dropped him, he kind of left it for a sec.
But the referee could have stepped in there, like he looked like he was just gone. But that was 19 seconds into the fight, and if you look at the aftermath, man, the French guy got up and literally didn't know what was after happening. He was looking at the fellas around him, being like, "Why are you standing here? Like, what's going on?" And he's young, very young. I think he's the new wave of MMA kind of star. Like him now going up the ranks. I don't know again where he is in the rankings, if he's even in the top 15.
Probably not. But Houani loves him as well. Have you noticed that? Ariel Houani has him on all the time.
Has Payton on, yeah.
But he's a good personality, and funny enough, I actually saw Payton Talbott live. I didn't realise it was like he wasn't big at the time. I saw him live in LA. I think it was in Commerce Casino, like in front of like a few hundred people, 1,000 people.
What was that, like a UFC?
It was Uriah Faber's MMA promotion. I went to where Callum. It was me, Callum, Tony, and Uriah sitting cage side, and your man just came out, and I remember being like, his tattoo is weird. That's how I remember it, the circle on the stomach and the back. And I was like, this is a freaky little fella. And he had the nails painted, and he was just had the fro, and he was so confident coming out. And I was like, but what's funny is like he's in the UFC now, and he's smashing fellas first round and all this. Now he won his fight obviously that night as well, but like I didn't sit there and think like, holy shit. But that just goes to show like that there is good boys that are at that level. It's like they're all that good. It's just the tiny difference is what separates them.
But he's also so young. He's probably learning.
And this was probably 3 years ago as well. Man. And as well, like how much was I even paying attention to him with the boys? But I remember him getting a good win, alright, and good finish. And I remember thinking people were on about him right beforehand. Like, oh, this is the fella. Yeah. He was the biggest name on the card, but I was like, how big is the promotion?
No, what you should have said there is that you saw the talent that night and you rang Dana White and got him to
that was my chance. I'm the reason he's there.
But to be fair, no, like I think that again we'll see in the next few years a lot more guys like that who are just young, very well rounded, able to put people away, and it's going to be good to see where he goes next. Like that French kid that they put him in with, Dana White said they wanted to test him, so they looked for a really good young fighter as well. And
he just got caught.
I think he smashed it, but just caught him with the first punch. The first thing he hit him with, he put him out. And then we obviously had the main event, which was, really anticipated. Did you see the stare down beforehand?
Yeah, it was savage.
Fuck me, man.
He just recreated the first one.
That was, but I could watch Alex Pereira doing nothing.
Yeah, he's very interesting. Even on the embedded, it's like he's so boring but so entertaining. Like he doesn't even do anything. Doesn't speak English, but even just watching him walk around is just entertaining.
Yeah, he's just very stoic, man. He's
so likable, so marketable, and it's very rare you get like a non-English speaker who translates very well to like the American audience. But it's just the fact that he is a freak.
Shama. And he's after
winner.
creating so many little nuances for us, like the way he shaves his head before the fights. Shama. Everyone's saying that now, but
that was a savage fight.
And he has that coach as well, the big heavy guy who translates from. Cool.
He's meant to be sound, Callum was saying.
Yeah, sure he was drinking with him on
he's meant to be a legend, that fella.
But like they're saying now they want to see Pereira move up to heavyweight. Do you think it's the right time for him?
I think fuck it, send him up. Leave him do whatever he wants, because like he's unbelievable. And again at this time now again I was like, this one could be a lot closer now than the first one. Yuri's class, like, and he was winning the first one till he got stopped, really. And I was like, he knows a lot now, he's ready, he's going to be prepared for it this time, and he just, even though you know exactly what's coming, you still can't stop the hook. Caught him the last second. I was going demented this morning.
If you watch that, man, when you watch the setup, the way he steps back and he takes a little step to the left, and as Jiří walks in, it's like he's so good at striking.
How does he get so much power though? Because it doesn't look like he's like he just kind of just pings it out there a little bit.
But that's the body type that just has the most power in striking, by those tall, thin kind of guys that look like they're not going to have much power behind it.
93 kgs of power behind it.
93
kilos. Is that what it is?
Well, that's what he weighed in at. He's probably 98, 100 kilo in the ring, like.
He's a big boy. He's probably more.
But who would you have him? So would you put him in straight away with Aspinall?
I would just put him straight in for the belt.
So Aspinall or Jones, because
you see Jones tweeting about it after the fight.
No, I didn't see
Jones was tweeting, so obviously there was talks about it, and people said it to see after the fights were done. One of the press people said to Dana, "Oh, what about Pereira going to heavyweight?" And Dana said that when he was putting the belt around Pereira and when the referee was announcing he won, Joe Rogan was in his ear just saying, go on, leave him go up, leave him go up. But then John Jones was tweeting, kind of being like, really kind of basically saying like he's into it. He was like, maybe after
the Miocic
fight, he was like, oh, this guy's meant to be the next GOAT. Everyone's already saying he's a legend, 2-time champion, And then he was like, maybe he can avenge all the other Brazilian champions and have to beat him, and he was definitely playing into the narrative, and which makes sense. But I would just throw him straight, like, no point, throw him straight in for the shot.
I listen to a lot of Dana White podcasts, and he's constantly going on about how John Jones is the absolute GOAT. What do you think?
He's obsessed with John Jones.
I think that John Jones has some dirt on Dana White.
No, do you know what I hate about the John Jones Miocic fight? Nobody actually wants to see it, and you can tell that it's only happening because he promised it probably to Miocic and Jones ages ago. Because no matter what anyone says, no matter what happens, he's like, no, that's happening. That's happening. You can tell he made promises behind the scenes that has to happen.
Yeah, but they're both so, like, if they don't make it happen in the next 12 months,
that's
the longest time frame you can give them, because they're both, like, Miocic hasn't fought since Ngannou, like, that's
and I think Aspinall wipes the floor with every heavyweight. I think if he fought Jones, he'd smash him. 100%.
You think Aspinall will smash Jones?
100%.
Do you think Pereira would have a chance against Aspinall?
I think Aspinall beats Pereira as well.
Yeah.
I think Aspinall beats them all now, because I think he actually is big enough naturally. He's quick enough. He's serious, boy.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to him and Curtis Blades now.
And I really like him as a person, fighter. Yeah. I think he's the perfect heavyweight champ. I think he could be champion for a while.
He's just such a normal guy.
I just think John Jones knows if I fight him, I'm fucked. And even now he's like, he goes on and on and on about how he's not going to fight Tom Aspinall, nah. But then he gets a little sniff off a big fight of a little smaller fella. He's thinking, oh fuck, of a fella who can't wrestle, and he's like, I might fight again. But when it was Aspinall, he's like, nah. He knows, I think, that he's coming real tail end.
Yeah, Jones needs to, I think, be very smart with his choices now of fights, because his legacy is, but he fucked the legacy as well with all the shit he did. But his legacy is still so strong. Like, if he goes in now and starts losing fights at the end of his career,
that's not what you want.
It'd be such a waste. Yeah, but I think the Miocic fight's a good one for him. I think Alex Pereira will be a good fight for him. I agree. Tom Aspinall,
stay away from Aspinall.
Yeah, stay away from him,
because he's class on the ground as well. Like,
it would have to be, I'd say, if he has 3 fights left in him, have the Miocic fight, have a Pereira fight for a mega fight, and then go in and try. If he wins 2 of them, go in and try do the Aspinall one, because that would be the way he would be able to walk away from the sport if he beats Aspinall, and never again would anyone be able to question.
The best way for John Jones to come away from the UFC, he has to, I don't care how it happens, who pulls the strings, Saudi Arabia, he has to fight Francis Ngannou. That's the dream. If Ngannou came back for just one fucking stat, that would be one of the biggest fights of all time.
I don't know what's going to happen, but Ngannou now, but I'd say he's in hell.
It's scary that the UFC's kind of, that never used to happen. You used to always get the fight that everyone wanted, and that was the fight that everyone wanted.
Yeah, but Ngannou took a strong stance, like, and they didn't.
That's what I'm saying. That was like the first. That was like the first time where the fans were like, "Holy shit, we're not going to get this fight." And now he's after making 30 million, he's not coming back.
Nah,
he's going fighting. He's probably going to fight Wilder or something.
I'm sure his 2-year-old passed away, but I'd say he's not going to be fighting for a while.
That wasn't even big news. I only heard about it because I was listening to the Rogan Fight Companion.
No, I remember when it happened, right? I saw a bit online, but I think people just know that's not something that would be in the news for long. Like, but I don't know. I'd say he won't be, if he's, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with him, but
no matter what he's doing, he'll need to take time. But that's the fight that I'd love John Jones and to finish on. But I don't even know, does he have 3 in him?
How old is he now, Jones?
I don't know. He looks
coming close to 40 anyway.
But Pereira, what a performance!
What a performance by the head kick.
How can you get better?
So he said in between the rounds, he said to his coach that Pereira's trying to counter the calf kick, but he's forgetting about. So
you mean Jiří?
Or Jiří's trying to counter the calf kick, and he said that he was he noticed he was kind of keeping his hands down, just trying to anticipate the calf kick and counter. Boom. So that's when he saw the chance to throw the head kick,
and he caught him like with his fucking toe.
Yeah,
like it wasn't like a perfect kick, was it?
There was a lot of leverage behind it, like his fucking.
It doesn't matter once you just lump something off his head,
especially when you're that big and the speed of it as well. But I think again, similar to the Payton Talbott fight, when Jiří went down, I was like, that's over. Like, there's no need to.
He was hurt.
Put any more. And the same with Payton Talbott when there, like, your man dropped, looking up at the stairs, like, didn't know what was going on, and referee let Payton throw another few strikes before he stepped in. I don't know. I wonder, does Dana speak to him about early stoppages? Because there's been a few times. Remember there was one recently where people were going mad because the referee let somebody get a bait, like something like 40 strikes. I think it was Bobby Green against Jalen Turner.
Yeah, I think it was.
So that was one,
but they can't win the rest, because if they stop it too early, they're slated. But if they stop it too late, they're slated.
I think
it is. To be fair, if you were a ref, in a split second, you're like, you're shitting it, because they get some stick as well. You know what I mean?
I do think that as a referee, your one job really is to make sure there's no foul play and to protect the fighters.
Better off stopping
it early. So you're way better off. Yeah, way better off.
Late.
Yeah, because you could fuck a fella's career up.
But then you could fuck a fella's career if he's actually grand. And
well,
like the fucking worst referee decision ever, which like obviously is a mistake, but the Robbie Lawler one with Herb Dean.
Yeah.
And even straight away, Robbie's like, oh, you're grand, you're a legend and stuff. But that was fucking.
But in MMA, you have levels, right? So you have chokes.
Yeah.
Chokes are the least kind of, you leave a fella go out before you step in. Yeah. Then submissions, like with fucking Kevin Holland.
Yeah.
You know, if a fella's arm's going to break, you have to stop it for him. But then if a fella takes a slap and he wobbles and goes down to the ground, you could almost argue like doesn't matter, like, because you shouldn't have taken the shot. You can't argue afterwards being like, oh, I was okay. It's like, but you dropped. You got dropped.
Yeah, so, to be down there, you have to be hurt in some way.
Exactly. You're not. So the co-main event as well was fucking bonkers. Like UFC have to like have the best like action. The way that they just move when something happens, when something goes wrong.
Yeah.
Because a lot of like boxing fights, a lot of promotions in general. But if a fella pulls out that late, like was it 4 o'clock on the fight day that he pulled out or something? Yeah. And why did he pull out? Did you hear why he pulled out?
Heard nothing. I don't know.
Because he missed weight, but then.
They had agreed on a catch weight.
Yeah, and then he pulled.
Yeah, then he kind of, who knows, only behind the scene. But the reason I think that Ige, is it Ige, yeah?
Dan Ige, yeah.
The reason he stepped in is because people are starting to realise now how much Dana privilege is important.
Yeah.
And like, if you do something like that for Dana, you could even see in the post-fight press conference, like,
bigging him up.
He will look after them now for good, the boys, because of what they done. They saved the car, not saved the car, but like they saved them some stress.
Massively.
And then even Ige was like, oh, I want to get on the sphere, and Dana was like, oh, I'll make it happen. He's on it. He's in the sphere. Just because he did this, now he gets him. Like, they're not going to go to the sphere ever again. He's going to be there. Mexican Independence Day. You know what I mean? Just because he went in short notice.
But do you think, so what Ige did is obviously something that deserves a lot of respect, but do you think it's harder to do what he did and take a short notice fight like 4 hours before the event, or do you think it's harder for Diego Lopes to say yes to a completely different opponent that close to the fight?
I think it's definitely harder for Lopes.
Yeah.
Because realistically, all the pressure's on him now, because he's the one who had the full camp. Plus, it's going to be a mental note in his head, or a completely different opponent. No, I'm after training for this fella, and now whereas your man just thinking, "Fuck it, I'm just going to walk up now and just fight this fella," because he's still good. He just hasn't had the camp, and his 3 rounds was it.
3 rounds,
and he's like, "Fuck it, I'm just going to go in and just try and smash this fella." Worst case scenario, I lose. Even by decision, that's like a win because I just came here. I'm going to get to fight on the sphere now. I'm in Dana's good books. Like, realistically, he was never going to lose, even though he lost.
Dana said exactly that.
That's it.
He didn't lose that night.
Nah, he's not going to be a loser there.
In the last 45 seconds, Lopes looked tired in the last round, but in the last 45 seconds, Ige, I don't know, did he drop him or they ended up going to the ground somewhere. Now Lopez's guard was obviously good, but I was like, because Ige was hitting him and landing shots, I was like, why didn't he just get up and just try and smash him on the feet? Because there was no way he was going to beat him just staying in the guard.
Yeah.
But he's obviously bait too. He's done 3 rounds as well. But he looked a lot fresher at the end of the fight than Lopes. And to see what Lopes was doing the whole time, I actually was thinking, does he have some sort of tick or something? Because he was rubbing his neck. But did you hear he fucked his Adam's apple with one of the 4 shots?
Really?
He got punched in the Adam's apple. Yeah. I don't know what the injury is, but afterwards he said he got, because he was the whole fight he was just rubbing under his chin.
It's a weird one.
Yeah, it looked like he was the way that Dustin Poirier does the shorts.
Yeah, just like a pure thing.
Or I thought he had an invisible bear that I couldn't see. I'd be rubbing my bear too, but
nah, there was no way though. Ige it's a win-win.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? You either win and it's like, holy shit, your man just came and won, or you lose barely. You lose on the decision and you're in Dana's good book. So.
And he had a good performance, but his guard is interesting the way he kind of just, because that kind of boxing guard doesn't usually work for MMA, but Lopes was just throwing hooks. But I was thinking if he had thrown maybe 1 or 2
that
uppercuts.
was really weird. I did see some parts of that fight, and he's just throwing 4 or 5 hooks with no setup or nothing. Just wild as fuck.
All around the side, nothing up the middle, no uppercuts, no straight shots.
I thought he was meant to be a handy boxer.
He actually had 100 strikes with a 49% strike rate.
Landed 49%.
Yeah, he landed 49 out of 100, and Dan then landed 42 out of 77.
Yeah, so more volume.
Less volume but better percentage. He was meant to spar Callum before you, man, Lopes.
You said that,
and I was like, oh yeah, he must be handy, but he looked shit boxing. I reckon he wouldn't box her he was just going in there just whipping hooks, and I was
on the inside he does throw uppercuts. When they're in the clinch he throws uppercuts, short ones. He knocked out Sadiq Youssef with the uppercut in the clinch, but on the outside then he was just winging hooks, which I thought wasn't the best.
What he wants, so fuck it.
Yeah, but it ended up being a good card with a lot of chaos leading up to it. So UFC once again pulled it out of the bag, and Michelle Watterson retired.
And it's her Dana in the post fight, just
he loves her as well. He's a big fan of her.
He loves her.
I don't know what her reason is. Is she just feeling like she must have, because they had a video lined up for her, so she must have said to them, "This is going to be my last fight."
Yeah, forget it.
Which is always weird going into a fight saying like, "I'm definitely done after this."
Tough one.
Oh yeah, I saw online actually earlier. It seems to be blowing up that McGregor did the Glacier 3000.
Oh yeah, did you
What
see the
even
video?
is that? What even is? I saw the videos, but like, what is it?
It's the highest bridge in the world, so it's like in Switzerland. It's 3,000 meters.
I think I actually saw the Sidemen do it before, but yeah, I think, and he just was, and seemed laughing coming along.
The whole video is hilarious. He's fucking just like, Jesus, fuck, he's blowing by, and then he gets to the bridge and he's like, nah, I'm done. Nah, look at it. Can you turn on the volume?
To be fair though, I think it's blown out of proportion because it's only 15 minutes it takes to do.
Yeah,
like, it's not that cold, surely. Like,
well, people are saying as well he's puffing, and his kids and his missus are in the background, like, just trotting along.
But they're on about the toll, like.
But if it was that bad, if it was that bad and cold, his little toddlers wouldn't be up there.
And I think all he's trying to do is to show his hat, forged out.
Yeah.
He's in the thing holding it and all.
It reminds me of fucking Jake Paul with his prime, like.
Yeah.
My legs are like jelly, yeah.
And the young fella behind him, not a bother.
Yeah. But to be fair, again, he probably did the right thing in not fighting Chandler, because at the stage now as well for him, like we said it last week, right, but he can't be taking big risks. But then you see like Pereira and Dana White kind of said, I don't know, was he taking a little shot at Conor, but when I heard him say it, I thought it was a little bit, he was like, you see guys like Pereira and Jiří, and he said I'm sure they had, injuries coming into it, but they still stepped up.
Yeah, I
took the fights.
I seen Pereira actually said as well, he was like, I think Conor made a good choice.
Yeah, but his toe was broke in the last fight, so I couldn't have been. How long ago was that? Like, it was only fucking 8 weeks ago or something.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that the Sphere card hasn't been made. If the UFC knows what's good for him, that would be the card to put him and Chandler on.
Conor?
Yeah, boy.
No, but that's going to be like an all Mexican thing. Definitely is, by because it's
you
like
could
the whole
easily
thing.
throw that as the main event and put a full Mexican on the card.
I just don't think they'll do it. Plus, because I think as well what they do, like strategically, that card's already going to be big enough. They're going to save Conor Chandler for one that's like it has nothing yet. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because
that one's already big enough. Like
you could put that fight on its own.
That's what I'm saying.